New York's downstate lawmakers are looking to limit ammunition sales for New York State gun owners, and we'll talk with one of the senators proposing legislation and a group dedicated to protecting Second Amendment rights.
And we'll follow up with the Finger Lakes SPCA on the condition of over 100 puppies rescued from a truck crash yesterday. And Joe's tracking some rain for tonight, but there is snow in the forecast. He'll have that for you coming up. WENY News starts right now.
This is WENY News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Renata Steele.
And I'm Nick Wacherney. Thanks for joining us for WENY News at 6 o'clock. It's day 12 in the Thomas Clayton murder trial, and Clayton is accused of hiring Michael Beard to kill his wife Kelly back in September of 2015.
And during testimony this afternoon, the defense motioned for a mistrial. The judge denying that request. WENY's Logan Wilson joins us live from the Steuben County Courthouse in Bath with more on that tonight. Logan.
Nick and Renata, earlier on WENY News, I told you about this morning's emotional testimony from the medical examiner about Kelly Clayton's autopsy. Well, this afternoon, things got emotional in a different way as things are getting heated between Special District Attorney Whedon Wetmore and Defense Attorney Ray Schlather. Now, this afternoon, the defense motioned for a mistrial, citing the DA's misconduct, saying that the district attorney mentioned Michael Beard's confession. Judge Peter Bradstreet denied the motion, but advised the prosecution to not mention Beard's confession as it's considered hearsay. This all came during the testimony of New York State Police investigator Kenneth Ruland. Ruland testified to trying different keys to unlock the door from the garage into the Claytons' home. Ruland said the key they found in the red truck didn't work, but a key they found underneath a can in the garage did. The defense asked Ruland why he didn't wear gloves when handling the correct key and questioned when this happened in comparison to when search warrants were issued. Ruland said not wearing gloves was a mistake on his part. Ruland said he was investigating information on the route the assailant took into the Claytons' home. Also on the stand today was Paul Gingrich. He testified to Clayton contacting him about changing him and Kelly's life insurance policy in September of 2014. Gingrich changed the policies to $1 million for Kelly and $2 million for Thomas. Gingrich said this was a normal policy. He also testified that there's been no payout since Kelly's death. He did say that Clayton's father contacted him shortly after Kelly's death to figure out exactly what to do with her policy. Now, Special District Attorney Whedon Wetmore said tomorrow he expects to call the owner of ServPro. ServPro's the company that Thomas Clayton and Michael Beard worked for. And as always, for the latest updates on this case, you can follow me on Twitter. But for now, reporting from the Steuben County Courthouse, Logan Wilson, WENY News.
Thank you, Logan. The Chemung County Sheriff's Office is investigating 2 early morning burglaries along the Miracle Mile.
That's right, and authorities are searching for 2 persons of interest regarding these incidents. WENY's Isabel Garcia is live along the Miracle Mile where the robberies occurred with more. Isabel?
Nick, Renata, police say that the burglaries happened here at Dunkin' Donuts where we're standing right now, as well as at Arby's, which is just a few businesses down the street here on Miracle Mile. Now, according to the sheriff's office, a Dunkin' Donuts employee actually interrupted the burglary, which happened just before 3 o'clock this morning. A nearby deputy was then notified and pursued 2 persons of interest. Sheriffs say the 2 persons of interest then crashed through multiple fences, eventually driving into the athletics field for the Horseheads High School. Now the suspects the persons of interest then abandoned the car and ran away. Authorities say they're looking for 27-year-old Jeremy Cade and 17-year-old Joshua Cade, who also goes by Jeremiah Phipps, as persons of interest in both of these burglary cases. Now, information that WENY obtained from the New York State Department of Corrections shows Jeremy Cade has multiple burglary convictions and his parole status is absconded. Now, this means his whereabouts are unknown to his parole officer. Anyone with information in either of these cases is asked to contact the Chemung County Sheriff's Office for more information, and we will continue to follow the story as more details become available and provide them to you as more information comes from police. But for now, reporting live from Miracle Mile, Isabel Garcia, WENY News.
Thank you, Isabel. And police agencies across multiple counties investigating a string of commercial burglaries over the past 2 weeks. They say they believe the burglaries are related and committed by the same people. Today, law enforcement officials from Broome, Tioga, Chemung, Tompkins counties, and New York State Police met to compare notes. The Tioga County Sheriff's Office tells WENY News they are not releasing which burglaries are involved in this joint investigation because they are still active.
Well, tonight's one of those nights where you want to keep the umbrella handy. We're tracking some rain showers and not snow across the Twin Tiers. A couple of sprinkles falling outside our studios right now, but so far the precipitation has been on the light side. But we can't rule out a brief heavier shower coming through within the next hour or so. It's a warm front we're tracking, and that should prevent temperatures from dropping much tonight. And that's why we're forecasting rain and not snow. There it is on radar right now, leading edge of that warm front, allowing for that rain to blossom over the northern tier of Pennsylvania, now crossing over to the southern tier of New York as well. And again, it's not going to be an all-night event, but there will be occasional showers out there, especially this evening. And then eventually the cold front will follow tomorrow, and that will lead to those cooler conditions, some gusty winds, and eventually some snow showers mixing in with the rain. 40 last check at the airport with winds out of the southeast at about 5 miles an hour. So here we go with the forecast through the overnight period. Again, we're talking rain and not snow with lows in the mid-30s, but temperatures will actually rise back into the 40s during the overnight period. Winds become gusty tomorrow. Out of the west, some gusts over 25 miles an hour. Could top 30, 35 miles an hour in some of the higher elevations with a 5-degree guarantee of 45, but temperatures will begin to drop during the afternoon. Definitely looking at a colder scenario as we approach the weekend. We're also talking snow showers by then as well. I'll let you know what kind of accumulations we can expect locally. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Joe, thank you. Well, in an effort to stop terrorist attacks, 2 lawmakers from the New York City area are looking to restrict the sale of ammunition for New York gun owners.
The draft legislation would limit ammunition purchases to no more than twice the amount of the capacity of the weapon every 90 days. WENY's Samantha Potter spoke with one of the lawmakers and a local gun rights advocacy group about the proposed bill.
Nick and Renata, the lawmakers behind this bill, say it's to keep potential terrorists from stockpiling ammo. But a group dedicated to protecting Second Amendment rights says this is just another attempt to expand gun control and get rid of guns.
New York State lawmakers from Brooklyn have drafted legislation limiting the number of bullets a gun owner could purchase over a 90-day period. Tom Reynolds, the president of SCOPE, the Shooters Committee on Political Education, calls the legislation downstate craziness.
All this does is impose on the law-abiding gun owner.
One of the sponsors, Senator Roxanne Persaud, says the goal of the legislation is to prevent gun dealers from selling ammunition to anyone unauthorized to have such a weapon.
You know, people have said, well, you're not going to, the criminals are not, you're not going to stop the criminals from purchasing it. But remember, criminals purchase it from someone who purchased it legally. We're trying to prevent that.
She specifically mentions the stockpiling of more than 3,000 rounds of ammunition like we saw in the case of the San Bernardino shooters.
What we wanted to do is to prevent people from just walking into the stores and stockpiling, as we saw a little over a year ago in San Bernardino, where someone was able to stockpile ammunition and then use it for mass destruction.
Under the legislation, it would cap the amount of ammunition to no more than twice the amount of the capacity of the weapon every 90 days, essentially saying New York gun owners would be limited to buying less than 20 bullets every 3 months. Senator Persaud says we need a system of checks and balances for who has ammunition, but Reynolds says this is an infringement on our rights.
Well, anyone that does any target shooting, which I do, I go up to the Chemung County Rod and Gun Club, and I'll use twice my magazine every time I go up there. And if I go up there once a month, this would severely limit what I can do.
Currently, the bill limiting ammunition sales is in committee in both the Senate and Assembly. It still needs approval from the committee chair before it would go to the floor for a vote. Reporting in the studio, Samantha Potter, WENY News.
Thank you, Samantha. An accident off Interstate 86 in Avoca yesterday left a van full of puppies stranded as they were being taken to local pet stores.
WENY's Kara Demers followed up with how those puppies are doing, as well as where all 104 of them are going.
Out of that bunch, 86 were taken here to the Finger Lakes SPCA, where they tell me that all of the puppies are in good health.
Under the circumstances, they all seem really happy. They got comfortable here and just really playful, alert. Like I said, very healthy, good body conditions, and just bright-eyed. And we're happy that we could be there to help them.
That accident left a box van overturned with more than 100 puppies on board. When state police arrived, the puppies were then turned over to the SPCA or to the Bath Veterinary Hospital, where 5 of them were treated for injuries. Out of that 5, 2 have been permanently admitted to the hospital.
One of them had a fractured jaw. He had surgery this morning to have that stabilized. And he also has what appears to be a fractured sinus cavity. And the other one had a fractured leg.
According to Dr. Mortensen, the puppies are all certified by the USDA standards, although it's unclear where they originally came from. State police said the driver was speeding before losing control of the van.
There's a transport vehicle that transports animals for breeders that was taking them to local pet stores, and because there aren't any cruelty investigation charges or anything, they'll just be returned to the transport company and the owners to go on to their intended location at the pet stores.
Those puppies, aside from the 2 who will stay in Bath, were picked up earlier this afternoon.
We sent the 16 of them from here, and then they were going to the Finger Lakes to pick up the other ones. There were cages that were secured in the vans, built into the vans, so that's how they were being transported. I think it was a tough situation with the weather yesterday, and they were lucky that the situation wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Reporting in Bath, Kara Demers, WENY News.
Officials say New York's capital city is owed more than $80,000 by 3 former presidential candidates. The city reportedly billed President Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, and Senator Bernie Sanders in April, along with Ohio Governor John Kasich, for security services during the campaign. Kasich's the only candidate to have repaid his debt. City officials say Trump owes more than $56,000, Clinton owes about $14,000, and Sanders owes more than $8,000. Staffs of the respective campaigns have blamed the cost overruns on the Secret Service, but the Secret Service says the bills should be absorbed by the city or county budget. And when we come back, President Donald Trump making headway on his campaign promise to build a wall on the U.S.-Mexican border.
We'll tell you what he said about when the construction could begin.
And we continue to track light rain across the Twin Tiers for tonight. The winds become gusty for tomorrow, and then ultimately we're talking snow showers back in the forecast. I'll let you know how much to expect coming up right after the break. But first, a live look at our Mansfield Skycam. You're watching WENY News at 6.